recording. It's January 25. And Hamas has released 4 Israeli women military members. Looks like they're all pretty young, like under 25, 18 to 25 years old. Remember in Israel, everybody serves in the military. Right out of high school, you go into the military for a couple of years. And then from there you can go, into the world. You can go into college, get a 2-year, 4-year, 8-year degree, law degree, biochemistry. Not high on everyone's list. I did biochemistry. I don't know why. It was easy for me. So I figured let's stay right in there with biochemistry. And late in my sophomore year, I decided, hey, maybe pre-med is the way to go. So then I started doubling up on biology to catch up, because I didn't do anything with biology in my first 2 years. So in my last 3 years, I had a combined degree. So I was at Union College for 5 years instead of 4. But I got a BA, BS, and I got a double major, 142 credit hours, and then I didn't go to med school. And I had a girlfriend at the time whose father was a doctor, and she said, well, I never knew my dad, and I don't want our family like that and all that. So I had a scholarship in medical school, 2 of them actually, and then a year later she dumped me. I got dumped anyway. So I guess I should have gone to medical school, huh? But then, I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be somewhere else, being I guess a retired doctor. I don't know. I don't know how long you can keep doctoring. Angus, until you can't do it properly. Anyway, so we've had 4 Israeli hostages released late last night, I believe. And they flew them out by helicopter, and they landed on top of a hospital, I think. And the girls were loaded into the hospital to be checked out and, debriefed and all that kind of stuff. So, actually, they're a part of the military. A year and a half, and, held as hostage. And so they'll get to the bottom of that. And Peter Hegseth has passed the Senate confirmation process, requiring a tie-breaking vote by J.D. Vance. And so Peter Hegseth will be or has been sworn into office. Probably doing that right now. And then Kristi Noem is next on the list, and as is Elsie Gabbard. So, just remember this. Obama, okay, that's not a long time ago. In the first day of confirmation hearings, Obama had 8 of his cabinet people approved by the Senate. But oh no. Not with this aggravated Democratic Senate that has 47 Democrats, and the Republicans have 53. But even in light of that, we've gone on, quite some time now. And the Senate has only approved, several. Let's go get our list. I happen to have a list right here. Right there. There's my list. So we just the Senate so far has approved number 4 and number 6. They've only approved 2 in a week. And Obama had 8 in the first day. So, it's everything they can do to louse up or delay the Trump administration into executing their plan for the country. And you need these people in these spots. Homeland Security, number 18. So that's Homeland Security is next. Kristi Noem, the governor of South Dakota. So when you've been a governor, you're running things. A lot of these senators haven't run anything. They're just a bunch of talkers, professional talkers. They have a staff of maybe 10 people. That's the only thing they manage. And they have a chief of staff that manages the 10. So anyway. So everybody should get approved. Number 12 on this list is the Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Can you believe it? The son of his assassinated father, which is the brother of the assassinated President John F. Kennedy. Yeah. So his uncle and his father were murdered, and they're going to rake him over the coals whenever his time comes up because of the things he's done in his life. being a Democrat. But his family has gone through hell and back. When your father and your uncle are murdered, it gets a little scary. Anyway, so he's aligned himself with Trump, and they've had heart-to-heart talks. And Trump said, "How about this?" And Robert F. Kennedy said, "Okay." So, RFK Jr. has been, going through the books to learn how to be a health and human services person. And the pitfalls, well, he's attacked by his own Democratic Party senators. So he is a Democrat, what the heck? He's a lifelong Democrat. And Trump put him in his administration because he thought he'd be good at it, and he wants to be in the administration. So, what the heck? Remember, these positions serve at the pleasure of the president. So, for some reason or other, he doesn't like what's going on. He can be, adiosed. The only person that can't be adiosed on this list is number 1. It says right in the Constitution that the Vice President does not serve at the pleasure of the President. All these other appointments serve at the pleasure of the President, which means the President can be displeasured and say, "You're fired." But J.D. Vance cannot be fired. These two guys are stuck with each other for 4 years. And hopefully it's a harmonious, relationship. I think J.D. Vance is so appreciative of Trump, because if it wasn't for Trump, he wouldn't have won the Senate position, the Senator of Ohio, if I recall. And he pulled him in as his vice president. And of course they won elections, so he's gone from being not even a senator to being the vice president of the United States of America. Eesh.
It's 10:15.
That's quite an adjustment. So, he's a smart guy, right? He graduated law school from Yale Law School. I forget where his undergraduate studies were, but he went to Yale Law School, which is where he met his wife, and he studied, law, whatever you have, and so he got a law degree. So after serving his 4 years as vice president, would he go on to run for president in 2028? I'm sure he would. Would Marco Rubio? I'm sure he might. Anyway, so who is going to get the Republican nomination for president in 2028? But because can't run for president for another term unless they change the Constitution, which is, requires a supermajority in the House and Senate, and then 75% of the states in our Federal Republic of States would have to approve that amendment, amendment to the Constitution, because it says there's term limits of 2. So would they increase it to 3? And maybe add some term limits for the House and Senate also. Should those guys really be able to stay in there and make a lifelong career of being a House of Representative person? So maybe they cut that to, 6 terms as a House of Representative. Let's see. Senate is 6 years, so that's 12. Yeah. So make the House and the Senate where you can't be in there for more than 12 years. And the president would have 3 4-year terms, and that's 12 years. That's why everybody, they all have different times when they recycle, but in other words, everybody's is at 12-year terms. 6 terms as House of Representative, 2 terms as Senate, because they're 6-year terms. 2 times 6 is 12. And then 3 terms of 4-year terms for the president. 4 times 3 is 12. Everything comes out at 12. Yeah. So, we got some prisoners released. We got a Hegseth that's been confirmed. As Trump says, a win is a win. I don't keep score on whether it's a big victory or a little victory. You only have to do it once, and a victory is a victory. There you go. Secretary of Defense. That's quite a promotion from working the weekends, the Fox News channel, the weekend host, sitting on the curvy couch Saturday and Sunday, to Secretary of Defense. Now, of course, he had 20 years in the military and 10 years at Fox, and now he's Secretary of Defense. That's quite a... He's a good pick, though. Aside from some of his, dating history and getting too rough with the girlfriends. I may be oversimplifying that a bit. But the police investigated it, said, hey, we don't have any. There's too much inconsistency here. And she waited 5 days before she did anything. And, we got inconsistent stories, whatever the police determined after interviewing her over and over again, and interviewing Hegseth over and over and over again. They decided, we're not charging him with rape or anything else, for that matter. Not even assault and battery. So, So we're deporting all these bad guys. And it looks like I see where they're dumping them off in Mexico. I hope it's South Mexico. Let them cross a 1,200-mile path. We don't want them cycling in our border again. Of course, our border's closed. You know, Trump has agreed to send, up to several thousand troops. We have a little swearing-in ceremony of Peter Hegseth as Secretary of Defense. So the Vice President is having a little chit-chat, and they're gonna... You raise your right hand, please. Put your hand... I don't think hand on the Bible is actually required. That's an Anglo-Saxon thing. Because, what if you're Jewish? You're going to put your hand on a different document. And if you're non-sectarian, non-religious, you don't want to put your hand on any of those things. Because you don't believe in all that stuff. We don't want to make that something where you have to change the Constitution. So, producer, add Jimmy to the screen. Hey, there he is. Yeah, I'm right here. Hang it in there. At 10:23 a.m. 10:23 a.m. I started this right at 10 o'clock. Marilyn is out getting her nails done, and I'm out here talking to you guys. Both of you. So, Marco Rubio has oh, here we go. The swearing-in ceremony. And Peter Hegseth is there surrounded by his wife and I think 5 children. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Peter Hegseth, do solemnly swear that I will defend the Constitution. I have not taken this oath under any duress. And so help you God. And after the Vice President finishes reading Peter Hegseth the swearing in, and he repeats after me, so to speak. And so help you God. There you go. He is now Secretary of Defense. Congratulations. At 10:25 a.m. And Noah's kid... he kissed the ground he walks on. Oh boy, he's got a crowd of people there. Now Peter Hegseth is going to give his first speech for the national audience. Capitol Hill, live telecast. I'll have to watch it after this show. So he's taken a deep breath, and he'd like to thank everybody that voted for him, because he did get 50 senators to go along with him. He just didn't get the 53, because remember, there are 53 Republican senators, and the senator of Alaska should be ashamed of herself, because Trump won Alaska by like 16%, and she should be representing the people of Alaska, not her own personal And she should have gone along with her other 50 Republican senators and voted for Peter, so that we wouldn't have had to have the vice president to stand in there and break the tie. But, you went in there and broke the tie. And then the vice president again this morning swears Peter in as the secretary. Can you imagine the secretary to... I mean, they've only got 3 million people in the pyramid of the Secretary of Defense. 3 million. That includes our troops. And it's over 1 million of them. So that means you got 1 million of, in the chain of command, and you got 30 or 40,000 in the in the Pentagon. So his main office will be in the Pentagon, and he's got his own jet airplane, private jet, with two pilots, and he's probably got more than one jet. He's got at least one that's at his disposal at all times. He can fly anywhere in the world anytime he wants, and secretly or with camera, with the media. So I imagine he's gonna fly around to the troops and give a speech to each place where he stops. He'll stop in a number of the headquarters places, and wherever we get, South Korea, he's got to go there. He's got to go to Japan, He's got to go to Germany. Every one of these 3 places I just mentioned, had like 30,000 troops. Every place we've had a conflict, we leave behind 30,000. World War II, Korean War, the Iraqi stuff. So he'll stop off at 3 or 4 of these places just to get himself out, just balance himself on his sea legs, give some speeches, get to know the people that are in command of those locations, and then he has to, from the inside, get familiar with the chain of command in the Pentagon, and then start to reorganize the chain of command in the Pentagon and get some of these generals to say goodnight and retire early or be hacked. And I think there's going to be a major reorganization in the Pentagon and probably in the field also, with people that are loyal to him instead of loyal to the prior administration. I could write a book, what I do not know, about, the military industrial complex. You'll fly out and meet with, in the California and, places, the headquarters, Raytheon, of Boeing, some of these big factories that, build our jets, and he'll get up to speed on what the plans are for those, and introduce himself as the new guy in charge. Find out what they think the priorities are. Of course, he'll have senior staff that'll tell him what the priorities are and were, whatever. He'll have to have a lot of help to figure out how to command 3 million souls. That's a lot of, wow, that's a huge 3 million. I mean, there are a lot of states in our union, in our federation of states, in our federal republic of states. There are a lot of states that don't have 3 million population, for God's sakes. And he's got a branch of our government that has 3 million people. Just take the average salary of that and see how many billions of dollars in the payroll packages that we have hanging out there with a staff of 3 million. Whew. That's a round number. I don't know the exact count. I don't think Alexa knows. I could do Hey Siri. Let's try it. Hey Siri, how many people are employed by the Department of Defense? Here we go. The Department of Defense also maintains over 778,000 National Guard and reservists, and also employs 747,000 civilians, bringing the total employment of the Secretary of Defense 2.91 million. So it's almost 3 million. You have over 1.4 million of active duty service personnel, including soldiers, Marines, sailors, airmen, guardians, over 778,000 National Guard. All right, comes right out of. Thank you very much. Goodbye. You gotta shut her up or she keeps talking to you. All right, we learned something. 2.91 million, of which 1.4 million of those are active military, and 778,000 active reservists, and 747,000 civilians that work in the military supporting the reservist arena of military people. I told you I don't know anything about it. So, but Hegseth knows. He's been 20 years in there, and I'm sure he's been yucking it up with, some generals here and there. So, he knows. He's written a couple of books on it. He went. He got accepted. That's a big deal. He got accepted into Princeton. Okay. When I grew up a few years ago, Harvard, Princeton, and Yale were the three. That was the top the top, the creme de creme of the, the Ivy League schools. If you could get in to one of those three, your SAT scores had to be way up there. I'm told it's easier to stay in a school like that than to get in. The hardest thing is to get in. And the second hardest thing to do is to stay in and graduate. From a graduate school standpoint, Harvard is a lot easier to get in as a graduate student than an undergraduate student. The first 4 years of college, and to get in, that's like a year's worth of work and recommendations from senators and representatives, and you had to be the top of your class, you had to be captain of the football, they had all these things, and when you send in your application, they rank you out, and there's a lot of competition to get in these schools, assuming that your parents have $80,000 to $100,000 a year, in their extra money to put your Earl Fanny through such a institution. Yeah. So that's $300,000 or $400,000, right? That's almost $500,000 that your family unit has to have to put your little Fanny through such a 4 or 5 year deal. Yeah. So, the other thing is that Trump signed an order to release all of the secret papers that were called classified for the JFK, RFK, and MLK assassinations, all three of them. And, they're secret files that, they thought the American public is not capable of handling the information. It would be so destructive of their trust in the government. Well, these days I don't think anybody trusts the government. They respect it and the authority. Trust, that's another word. After they see what the government have done to these three people, and who knows? You may learn that President Kennedy was taken out by our own, Secret Service or the CIA. They decided, they concocted, removal, and hired people to do the assassination, trained them secretly, I don't know what the deal is, but I'm sure it's ugly. Well, those classified files are now unclassified. So now you'll have some of the media that's interested in knowing, about that. They'll be reading it, and they'll be, delivering stories about what they kept secret from you for 60 years. It was supposed to be locked up and unlocked in 50 years. And when I came to, the Kennedy family, through Ted Kennedy, he went to his colleagues and said, why don't you extend that another 10 years? So if they did another 10 years, a whole generation would go, and we would never know what happened, because we'd be dead by the time, the files get released. So you'd be between 70 and 80 years old before you learn the truth. If they extended another 10 years, they'd be 80 to 90 years old. Nobody would be able to read what happened. And the future generations, no. That's the theory. I went online. This is in wonderment to see, if I ordered a new Model Y today, how much it would cost, and what does it look like? So of course I don't have the. Let's go to Tesla. That should be the Tesla thing. Let's try to authenticate me. Let's just do that. Put that in. Face ID. There we go. I'm trying to sign into this silly thing. Yeah. Slowly it's signing in. Oh God. Now what? I think I touched this. Or touch. Yeah, there we go. Now I touch this menu thing here. Then we want vehicles. They do so much. And we want Model Y. There we go. That's what the new Model Y looks like. Let's do order now. This is how you buy the car. There's no dealership. Will allow the Tesla app to learn my location. So this is what the new Tesla looks like. See, the front is has been smoothed out a little bit. The edges have been, pushed in and pulled out a little. They're fine-tuning the coefficient of drag, because the coefficient of drag, there's a sideways look, and there's looking at the, 3/4 look at the rear, and there's the front wheel, and there's the interior. We want long range, all-wheel drive. There you go. And we're looking at the lease, the price of a lease. Let's do cash. What it costs you in cash. So, and I don't want the $7,500 thing. And I don't want the 6 years of gas savings either. Yeah, let's just keep this. We buy it all cash. So it's $47,990 so far. Which the car we have, the Tesla we have, is long range battery and white interior. We want a solid black. That costs $1,500 more. Yeah. The tow package we'll leave out. You can add it for $1,300 later. 5-seat, but we want the white interior. Yeah, the white seats are so nice. The white interior. They're so much cooler in this hot climate, and they don't get dirty. I have the charging stuff because I have one, and when I turn it in, I keep the charging stuff because I paid for it with the first car. I don't want the center console or any of that stuff. Well, what the hell? You gotta buy it anyway. You just have to pay for it up front. So I'm not really ordering today anyway, so there we go. And we'll get the console thing. I read that one package for $220 is all the floor mats, front, rear, and the cargo thing in the back. So, you're going to pay 200 and something bucks for all that anyway. So you might as well get the Tesla ones. They're engineered for the actual car itself. So there you go. The car is $52,130. Now the car that I lease, that we presently have control over, we bought it for $50,050. $50050. So this is, roughly 2,100 hours more expensive than the car we got 10 months ago. Yeah. Now I should. Guess I should not have any of that stuff in there. Now what is it? Show pricing details. That's what we want. There we go. I know we got a special deal because in March, April, May, that quarter, March, April, May, Tesla got a hold of me, sent me a text message, and said, we will give you a $2,500 discount on a new Tesla Model Y, and we'll allow you to buy it. See, our lease was up, in June last year. So, but in March, they got a hold of me by a text message and said, if you'd like to get a brand new one, turn in this one. We'll give you 500 hours worth of, dings and dangs credit, and we'll pay your last 2 lease payments. And then you get in this brand new one, and we'll give you a $2,500 or $2,600 discount on the car itself. And we'll either a cash lease or a cash price or a lease. You decide. So we decided for another 3-year lease on a new Tesla, with the new hardware and brand new tires and all this stuff. We had 20,000 miles on. We had a 30,000 mile lease and only 20,000 miles of odometer reading. So they got a car with 10,000 miles on it, so they can sell it or lease it to somebody else. And have basically a 10,000 mile credit. So you can multiply that by 25 cents a mile. That's about $2,500. Well, they gave me a $2,500 discount on the new car. So that's what we did in March. March like 18th. I was trying to think of the day. March 18th. 2 days before my birthday. We got a brand new Tesla. It's always exciting to get a new car, And I'll tell you what, the new Tesla was, they're tweaking it all the time. They find a way to make it a little quieter. They immediately implement the way to make it a little quieter, assuming it's not a major redesign of the whole darn thing. So they've had thousands of little tweaks over that 3-year period that we owned the other car. They don't stop improving it just because you bought one, So for those 3 years that we were driving, our first Model Y, they really did a hell of a job, because the ride, the smoothness of the ride, the quietness of the ride, it really felt like you were in a luxury vehicle. The first one, was a little bouncy and bumpy. We had just gotten out of a Honda Accord, I think. Or a Toyota, similar Toyota car. And I remember telling Marilyn when we were riding over a few, when you ride into your parking space, you know where all the bumps are in the parking garage or the driveway leading into it. So when you drive up and down over a 3-year period, where all the jiggles and the jaggles are. Well, anyway, when we got the new car and we rode up in the parking lot, I said, Marilyn, you will not believe how they have helped the suspension in this car. You don't feel the jiggles and the jaggles like we did in the other car. And then when riding out of that parking space, the next day, I said, Marilyn, it's unbelievable how much smoother a ride this car is delivering to passenger Jimmy. And you're here too, so let me know what you think. And she agreed 100%. A smoother, more luxurious ride. And that's just because of the thousands of tips they got from ownership. Ownership could be, senior staff, in the Tesla company, the Tesla factory people. Because, a lot of the people that are in that Tesla family of employees, they like the product and they drive it if they can afford it, or if they want it, whatever. So I'll bet you 30 or 40% of the Tesla staff drives Tesla vehicles. They have roughly 40,000 employees around the world. My guess is 10,000 of them or more are Tesla drivers. I pretty much have heard that there are at least 10,000 people driving Tesla vehicles. Well, they have 40,000 employees, roughly. That's about 25%. But it could be a little higher than that. Because I never got a fine-tuned number there. But anyway, so we're pretending we're ordering a car. It's available in January of 2025. There's only 5 days left in the month. Oh yeah, man, we can have one of these ready for you. Yeah, they probably got a couple sitting in their service center. So if you want to pay, let's hit this bottom button here. I don't want to pay. I'm not going to pay. I'll just do that. See what happens. So now you fill in all your credit card information. And then if you hit place order, they're going to ding you for $250 now. But notice those words, non-refundable order fee. So by placing this order, I agree to the Model Y order agreement, the terms of use and privacy notice that we have delivered to you, and you can see it in the side here. View additional information. Let's click that. The vehicle acceleration, the electric vehicle incentives, tax stuff, I guess. Range, tells you what your EPA range is, and depending on, your vehicle and how it's configured, you may have slightly more or less range. Well, I can tell you have less. Because, 330 miles of range, bupkis. After the first year, you're lucky if you have 290. And we're about 295 now. We're in the car 10 months. So you lose a bit right after you get the car. I don't think it ever gave us 330. We might have gotten 305. And that was 295. So 305 has dropped 10 to 295. And there's a graph. I got a graph here. Let's look at it. Oh crap. Can we do this already? Maybe it was on a different laptop. Hell with it. Anyway, there's a graph that shows, how the range has dropped. And, it's 295. Real range. But I don't even call that real range. That's just the range. Which is like the number of gallons, of fuel that you can put in your gas tank. So your gas tank, you either got a 15-gallon gas tank, a 17.5-gallon gas tank, a 20-gallon gas tank, a 22-gallon gas tank. So obviously the more gallons, the more range you're going to have. Well, we got round numbers, you got a 300-mile gas tank. So, you divide that by, so let's just do the easy math. 300, we'll just put 300 in there, and divide that by 25 miles per gallon. That's like you buying a car with a 12-gallon gas tank. and they call that a long-range battery. Well, it may be longer range than many other cars, but it's not long range anymore. To me, they should have. It's not because they didn't want to. It's just because lithium batteries only give you so much. So you add it all up. If you were to give a 500-mile range battery, the battery would be bigger. By 20% or whatever. And it would be heavier. So heavier means, you got to use more energy to get it going. And so your total mileage you're going to get out of the battery is going to not be as high as it could be because the battery is so damn heavy. So there's a diminishing return on how heavy the battery can be if you have a 300-mile range battery, a 400-mile range battery, or a 500-mile range battery. Now they're coming out with some new battery chemistry ideas. The sodium battery. Remember sodium is part of sodium chloride, salt. So we got a lot of sodium all over the planet. So between all the different, you have different battery chemistries that are being developed these days. And they have to figure out, how to manufacture in scale, a lot of, like millions of units, how to, what kind of battery package, is possible. Some batteries, have to be flat, like a piece of bread. Some batteries, architecture can be, they can be wound up, like a small can of tomato juice, which is the 4680 battery now, which is 46 millimeters in diameter and 80 millimeters tall. And that is the size of a small can of, apple juice or tomato juice. The 7.5 ounce can of juice. Yeah. That's about the size of the 4680 battery in round numbers. Maybe a little fatter than what the can is. I don't know which dimension is slightly smaller or larger, but if you hold a 4680 battery in your hand, it's about the size of holding a 7-ounce can of pineapple juice or something. Special juices that you get at a bar. Well, they're not going to open up a big can because they end up throwing it out at the end of the night. You can't keep that stuff overnight. Past overnight, yeah. So what you open, you have to use that day, or else, it's called waste at the end of the day when you're operating a bar. A small can of tomato juice, you pour that in your cocktail, and you have 2 cocktails, you've used up that can, pretty much. So with those 4680 batteries, and putting different kinds of chemistry. You know, they have an iron phosphate battery. They've got a sodium phosphate battery. So these are different elements that are, you know, incorporated in the anode of the battery. Anode and cathode. Anode. So that's what's going on with the world of Tesla and the batteries and electric cars. Trump has, extinguished the mandate on electric cars. So you can drive any kind of car you want. You're not, if a manufacturer or something wants to give you some kind of an incentive to buy their car, that's fine. But the government isn't doing anything. Now, I haven't heard specifically whether Trump is getting rid of the $7,500 tax credit if you buy an electric car that is manufactured in the United States, as opposed to manufactured in China or, Europe or something. So if more than 60% of the car, 60%, if more than 60% or 75%, I actually don't know the percent, but a high percentage, if 75% of the car is manufactured in the United States, then the buyer of that car will get a $7,500 tax credit, which that's like money, a tax credit. That's not like a deduction where there's only like a 20 or 30% character, cash equivalent, if you will. But a tax credit means if you got a $10,000 tax liability in this tax year, and you buy one of them Teslas, and instead of having a $10,000 tax liability, you got a $2,500 tax liability after the $7,500 tax credit is applied to your actual tax bill when you do your tax return. That's a nice incentive. So that $5,200 car, if you apply the tax credit, becomes $7,250 less than $5,250. So that's let's see if I kept that page. Oh, he's still on the Tesla page. Let's see if it reloads. Ew, it didn't exactly reload. So here's the car we have, 2024 Model Y. Manage, I don't know what you would manage. Let's push that button, see what happens. You get a little thing there. Do more with the Tesla app. View charging history. The Access Video Guide Tesla app. Download in your smartphone. I've already got that in my phone, so anyway, details. There's the details of the car we now have. March 17th. We got the car March 18th. So on March 17, 2032, The drive unit goes out of warranty. March 17, 2032. It's 8 years. You get 8 years on the battery and 8 years on the drive unit, which is the motor and the gearbox that's associated with the motor. There's no transmission, so there's a one-time reduction, speed reduction of 1 to 10, which means every 10 revolutions of the motor gives you 1 revolution of the drive shaft, which connects to the wheels. So 10 to 1 ratio gives you tremendous power on the wheels. Yeah. And let's see, full self-driving supervised. That's in the spec of the car. Autopilot. Black and white premium interior. Solid black paint. 19-inch Gemini wheels. Long range all-wheel drive. You know, with the tires and so forth. 5 seats. It's 2 in the front, 3 in the back. And you supercharge as you go if you want to charge on the supercharged network. Yep. Anyway, so I guess we're done with that side. Oh yeah, this is a picture. Otherwise, I can't go anywhere from here because it's a print screen of some of the things that we've already done. That's what the car looks like. Beautiful white interior. You see how small the steering wheel is? It's all power steering. You know, the older cars, they got these really big steering wheels. No, as you can, yeah. As we go on, you know, the steering wheel will look like something in the cockpit of an airplane. As a matter of fact, with the full self-driving package, for $100 more, for $100 a month, that'll bill you $100 a month if you elect full self-driving. I'd rather pay $100 a month than give them $8,000 up front, which I think is silly if you have a leased car. Why do you want to put $8,000 in a leased vehicle? You turn in the car, you lose? You lose that? That should travel with you to the next car. Unless that was in writing, I wouldn't do it. So, Kristi Noem is being questioned by the Senate people. After they finish, then they're going to put it up for a vote. That's when the Democrats can say, well, we want to execute the 30-hour rule. Well, that puts it off, a few days. 1 day, a 24-hour day. A day plus 6 hours. There he is, Secretary. He'll be a tough one. He's young, he's smart. He's not going to get buffaloed by these generals. He said, we got too many generals in the Pentagon. It's like It's like a retirement home full of generals. We got like 45 generals in the Pentagon. 45. Holy crap. Well, you divide that by 5, you know, let's say 6. No, 5. The Space Force just started, you know. So let's say you got 5, you know, Air Force, Marines, you know. So that means you got 15 generals per segment of the military. So that's, you know, is what it is, as they say. Yeah. Let's see, just reading this little panel here. You get a little boost in range. Yeah, maybe when I got this Model Y, it was 310 miles of range. Well, now it's up to 320. So it had 9 miles in range. You know, big whoop. So the new battery charges faster. You can put in 150 miles of range in 15 minutes. So, you know, in 30 minutes you can get a fill up. But they don't want to say that because that's too much time. Who wants to stay in the gas station for, you know, 30 minutes? Well, what they've done is they've located the supercharger stations, you know, near coffee shops and near, you know, general stores, you know, where you can walk around and look at all the different things, you know, or the Wawa, you know, fueling stations where they have, you know, complete deli for getting sandwiches. They got sandwiches in machines, you know, that are already made up, which you can put your credit card or dollars in there and pull out a roast beef sandwich or something. Wow. You know, you can, you know, unless you're in a big hurry, you know, you pull into a gas station, you start filling it up, and you might go to the bathroom and relieve yourself. You know, you got to go get the key, then you go to the bathroom, then you got to give the guy the key back, and then by then, you know, your gas thingy is clicked, and your tank is full. And somehow or other, the nozzle, you know, smells the fume. I don't know what. I can't figure out. I've never actually investigated or thought about it seriously on how that nozzle clicks when your tank is at 90% full. So there's something that the nozzle is sensing about the state of fullness of your tank. I don't think there's something optical that looks in the nozzle. Plus the nozzle has bends and bends, you know, so it doesn't go straight in. There's a couple of turns it takes before the fuel actually gets to the tank. Anyway, it is kind of scary walking away from your car filling up. And if that thing doesn't click, then your car overfills, and then live gasoline is spilling out all over the driveway of the gas station. Someone creates a spark or something or other, and you got a huge fire. Plus your car goes up in smoke, so to speak. Yeah. the car goes a little quicker. The 0 to 60 is in 4 seconds instead of 4.7 seconds. So it's 7/10 of a second faster, to get to 0 to 60. So, yeah. I tell you, it's very fast. If you're on the highway and you want to get ahead of somebody, you depress your accelerator all the way, and you'll go from 60 to 85 real fast. Those electric motors are, super powerful, and it's all-wheel drive. So if you really trounce on that accelerator pedal, you will accelerate. And before you know it, it's 85 miles an hour. I've done it, and that was my experience. So, here's the front of the car, which is pretty new. Now, there's no lights that open up. There's a bunch of little lights with their own parabolic mirror in there. So your headlights are part of this continuous light bar that goes across the car. There's no open and close of the headlight. Those are your headlights. And they're each focused onto the road, giving you the required amount of lumens of light energy, 30 or 40 or 50 feet in front of the car. However they test that. Yeah, so it's pretty snazzy, modern looking in the front end of that vehicle. And because of the way that is engineered, the coefficient of drag of the car has dropped considerably. So now it's like 2.1% aerodynamic drag, which is lower. The lower the better. Than some fancy Ferrari or Corvettes, or these cars look like spaceships, but their aerodynamic drag is like 0.34, where this is 0.21. Much less wind resistance with this kind of a car than with a super duper sports car that you could pay, $500,000 for. The aerodynamic drag is actually better in the Model Y than your super duper Ferrari. And it, how they look. And you would intuitively, think they have a better aerodynamic drag, but they actually do not. Yeah. I've done a little research in that. It's it's the most amazing car you've ever driven, and we're lucky enough to have a charging plug right next to our parking space in the garage that we live in Royal Pond Place. Yeah, that saves us, about $150 a month. Because we don't have to pay to fill up the car with electricity. We get a plug right there, and the building doesn't bill us for it. So that's like a little cushion. So if they come to us, when our lease expires, and say we want $150 more a month, and that gets offset by the plug we have, because they're not charging me for the plug. The iPhones are getting ready. This is January. So in 7 months. You know, September is when they come out with the new iPhones. And the iOS system, the operating system, is going to be iOS 19, which is going to take advantage of all the new hardware that's incorporated in the new iPhone, which, of course, we don't know what that's going to be. But the Apple software engineers, they know what it's going to be because they're writing that software so that it is backward compatible for, 5 years worth of phones at least, plus the new phone. A lot of the difference, is in the cameras and the way they're going to lay out the cameras. And the camera software, that's the software module that's built into iOS 19. That little logo right there with where I can't really see where I'm pointing my finger. Right there, right in the middle, right next to the icon, just to the left of the fax icon. You see that fax? Yeah. I use that fax to communicate with our doctors because they're so backward because of the electronic HIPAA rules. You can send them a fax, but you can't send them an email. Oh no, that's electronic. It'll violate the HIPAA rules. Yeah, it's bullshit. But so I can fax them. I have a portal now, so that's a way I can get into their web address somehow, and I can actually type a dialogue in the portal. I have a doctor's appointment Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 5 days from now. Yep. January 30th. The 31st is Friday. My doctor's appointment is Thursday at 9:30 or something. I have it in my calendar, which I can look up. But anyway, this icon that's just to the left of the fax icon, with that flower-looking symmetrical flower that makes up that icon. Press that. So, that's all part of oh yeah, that's right. These are all pictures. So this whole picture library, see photos? Yeah, been taken today. I had Marilyn weigh in. Touch that one and get rid of it. Because this is the cleanest one. And Marilyn has already gone below her target weight. Yep. She's probably on her last. She gets one more dose next week. But she's on a real steady decline of weight and has magically lost, 50 pounds. That's a lot of weight. That's like 2 big turkeys. Just imagine that. I mean, I always think of these weight losses. I've lost 1 turkey and she's lost 2. Yeah, unbelievable. I'm down to, 165, something like that. And it also manages my blood sugar, so I don't really have to take insulin shots twice a day or more to keep my A1C below, 7. But with Ozempic, you end up losing weight with Ozempic. It's actually designed to stabilize your blood sugar, which it does. It's unbelievable. I haven't taken a shot of insulin in a whole year. So I've been on Ozempic a year. The ancillary benefit is you lose 25 pounds, which I did. I went from 195 to 170. Just 25 pounds on the button. So they've rebranded so I'm taking semaglutide, 2 milligrams once a week. A small injection I put in my stomach, in the fatty tissues, just under the skin. It's a nicely engineered needle. That's only 4 millimeters long. It's 4 millimeters short, I should say. Yeah. So I took a half a dose today. I gave myself 1 milligram of semaglutide. And next week I'll each injections are designed so you take 2 milligrams once a week, and you turn this little dial on your injection pen. So I turn it to 20 clicks. That's like a half a dose. So I've got like 5 or 6 doses left, at the half level. And then I'll probably stop buying that. My insurance company will pay for it. I'll get it. But if they start hammering me or refuses to give me any coverage on Ozempic, even with a doctor's prescription, for God's sakes, he has to fill out some extra paperwork, which he's already done last year. So he's going to have to do it again for this new insurance company, and he'll go back and forth with that, and the insurance company will either approve Ozempic or they won't. Well, if they won't, then I'll stop taking it, and I'll go back to, doing insulin as needed. I have a spaghetti dinner. I'll give myself a shot of, 4 units of insulin. 4 units of insulin 2 or 3 times a day, depending on how much you eat and what you eat. I'm real sensitive to rice. My blood sugar goes bipsic with rice for some reason. It's a complex carbohydrate, but, as your body, digests rice over the day, it gets your blood sugar, it jumps it over 200, within about 20 minutes of eating a bowl of stir-fried rice. Certain foods, depending on your body chemistry, metabolize faster than other people. But I can eat a bowl of ice cream, and rice raises my blood sugar faster than a bowl of ice cream. That's hard to believe, but yep. Here's a new pair of shoes with some dust on it that I just got from Cole Haan, Colehaan, the Cole Haan Company. Got a little box here. You can see now the lights are awfully dim in here. There we go. Oops. There you go. See Cole on. So I put my old shoes in the box. And I got the new shoes on my feet. They're very comfortable. You know, they've got the black uppers and the white soles. That's the new modern look these days. You see everybody walking around with the white soles. So that's what I'm wearing. Marilyn's getting her nails done. And from there we're going to go out to lunch somewhere. It's 11:37. So she'll be back here any minute. And I've been yakking around here for 1 hour and 37 minutes because I got on here at 10. So at 11:37, I think I'm going to check out. So you all have a nice weekend. And I'll see you Monday at 9 o'clock. I'll try to get on it exactly at 9. So that way I'll have a couple hours, 9 to 11 on Monday. Maybe we'll have a few more people that have passed the scrutiny of the Senate with regard to Trump's cabinet.